Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs backing in the summer transfer window. And I think there's a good chance that he'll get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window. Because obviously we've got John Murtough as our Director of Football. He's our first ever Director of Football. And it was the right decision by the club to recommend the Director of Footballing, because I said that's one of the structural changes that we need at the club. And John Murtough knows the club well. He's been at Manchester United since 2014. And obviously, Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and he knows the club through thick and thin because he endured 2 decades as a player for Manchester United. And obviously Woodward did a statement earlier on this season, and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. And Woodward believes Solskjaer is the right man to lead us forward. Solskjaer has already discussed our transfer plans for the summer transfer window with our new recruitment team. This year's summer transfer window is huge for Manchester United. It will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. So far, he's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager, and he has spent almost £300 million. He has made good signings and he's brought some good young players in, but as yet he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. But Woodward has come out several times to show his support for Ole. Even during them really bad periods, he assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. And he said towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Our board have a soft stance on Ole. The main explanation is because he is a club legend. And I think that's the only reason he's still Manchester United manager, because he is a club legend. Disregarding being a club legend, I don't think he'd have been here now. Man United won't be sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer if we fail to win a trophy. So he will be Manchester United manager in the summer, and he'll be Manchester United manager next season. Like I updated you earlier on today, a new contract for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is done. Solskjaer is set to be awarded a new 3-year contract worth £10 million a year. So he's been given a pay rise. Sources at Old Trafford said not so long ago that talks are set to begin any day on the new deal. Ole's into the final year of his current 3-year contract. When Solskjaer got the job permanently back in March 2019, he signed a 3-year contract. But it actually said earlier on this season that Solskjaer's future was in doubt, because he admitted that nobody had spoke to him over a new contract. Does he deserve a new contract? So in some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. But Solskjaer's got to start winning trophies as Manchester United manager to prove a point. But Solskjaer did say not so long ago that winning trophies is an ego thing. He said that in regards to some other clubs and some other managers. And he says clubs like Man United, trophies no longer prove success. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. And Solskjaer's not yet won a trophy as Manchester United manager, and he's been Man United manager over 2 years. Our only chance of any silverware this season is the Europa League. And I think we are considered the favourites to win the Europa League. But I can assure Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Manchester United. But if we eventually decided to sack Solskjaer, it wouldn't really solve anything anyway, because when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from him. It's not always the manager's fault. Obviously, there's certain players that have got to take responsibility. But hopefully in the summer transfer window, Solskjaer can get the right players in. Our transfer budget has been revealed. It's £80 million. A lot of Man United fans are shocked in that aspect, because we know £80 million is not enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. So this is why it said Solskjaer's planning to sell at least 4 players to boost our transfer budget, and he hopes to raise as much as £60 million. So that'd take our transfer budget to £140 million. Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic. But he said he's only interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. Now, obviously, we're looking to get a striker in. We're looking to get a right winger in. We're looking to get a defensive midfielder in. And we're looking to get a centre-half in. I think we're also in search for a right-back to provide competition for Wan-Bissaka. Because Wan-Bissaka is only the recognised right-back at the club. So, Pau Torres, now, he's been one centre-half on our agenda. Now, there has been narratives coming out saying that Pau Torres wants to join Manchester United. We are launching a bid. At the end of the season, Pau Torres is available for £52 million. That's his release clause, but we believe we can get him for less than his £52 million release clause. He's only young. He's been at Villarreal a long time. He's got a contract with them until 2024. Apparently, he's one of our top defensive targets. Jules Koundé from Sevilla, he's one of our top defensive targets. Now, the last time I read up regarding Jules Koundé, he said we'd been handed a boost in our bid to sign him, because it said Sevilla had reduced their asking price for Jules Koundé to £50 million. So they're not £20 million off, because originally Sevilla were demanding £70 million plus add-ons. There was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that we was not willing to meet his £68 million release clause, but he said was prepared to pay around £61 million. Larazion said earlier on this season that we was the favourites to sign him. His performances for Sevilla this season have been very, very good. He's been at Sevilla almost 2 years. He's got a contract with them till 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. I think he'd go very well alongside Maguire in our back line. Raphael Veron, there's been a lot of narratives coming out about him. It looks very likely he's going to be leaving Real Madrid. Mundo Deportivo have said that Raphael Veron's future is in doubt, and he's high on our transfer wish list. Now, earlier on this season, it says that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Raphael Veron on one condition, and that he must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. Back in 2018, Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move. Now I think he's valued in the £60-odd million range. Oh, I'd certainly take him at Manchester United. World-class centre-half. Highly experienced, 27 years of age. And if he comes to the Premier League, I think he will exceed expectations. Raphael Veron and Sergio Ramos in Real Madrid's back line complement each other fantastically well. And Ramos has been another centre-half on our agenda. Raphael Veron has been at Real Madrid for 10 years. He's made over 300 appearances. He's won around 18 major honours. He's got a contract with Real Madrid until 2022. Real Madrid paid €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. Max Aarons, he's another defender we've been looking at. Max Aarons is a right back. And I think he would provide good competition for Wan-Bissaka. I've watched Max Aarons quite a few times at Norwich. Kalidou Koulibaly, he's been another defender on our agenda. Now, we've been looking at some midfielders, haven't we? Like I've said, I'd certainly take Declan Rice at Manchester United. Main explanations is because he's young, he's got a lot of development in him, he's well proven in the Premier League, and his performances for West Ham have been very, very good. Now, he did say not so long ago that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had agreed with our new recruitment team that Declan Rice would be the perfect signing for the club. I think West Ham are demanding £80 million. He says earlier on this season that West Ham were considering lowering their asking price to £50 million. He was relentlessly linked to a move to Chelsea last year. That's when obviously Frank Lampard was in charge. He was Frank Lampard's number one target. Lampard was very infuriated when he missed out on him. Wasn't he? But Declan Rice has been at West Ham for like 7 years. He's made over 100 appearances in the Premier League. He's got a contract with them till 2024. Predominantly a holding midfielder, but can be deployed as a centre-half. Before he was at West Ham, he was at Chelsea. He was in their youth setup for a while, but never got in their first team. Obviously, we've been looking at a few right winners. Pedro Nettles, he's recently been on our agenda. There was narratives coming out saying that we are eyeing a 50 million plus move for Pedro Nettles from Wolves. We actually are seeing him as an alternative to Jadon Sancho. Back in 2016, he had a trial at Carrington as a teenager, but didn't impress enough for us to get him on the board. Now, Pedro Nettles' performances for Wolves have been very, very good. Wolves got him in 2019. They paid £18 million for him from Lazio. Was on loan at Lazio, and then I think Lazio did actually get him permanently, and then he left Lazio. And before he was at Lazio, he was at Braga. Pedro Nettles got a contract with Wolves until 2025. I'd take him at Manchester United because he's obviously proven now in the Premier League. Still young, only the age of 21, predominantly a right winger. Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona, he's been another winger on our agenda before. Jadon Sancho, we've been in for him for a long time now. We still haven't got him yet. Sancho was our number one priority target last summer. But the main explanation we didn't get him is because we was not willing to meet Dortmund's £108 million valuation. We did right by not paying that because it was far too much. We was only willing to pay so much up front. Dortmund said we had until the 10th of August last summer to sign him, but we missed out on that deadline. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and very close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga, and so too has Bild's Christian Falk. He said a few times last summer that the personal terms had been agreed and the agent fees had been agreed and even a contract had been agreed. But we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee. Earlier on this season, Sancho made an admission saying that he has endured a difficult season at Dortmund, but he said he was happy to be back among the goals. Earlier on this season, it said we put our transfer pursuit for Jadon Sancho on pause due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. But it actually said we was preparing to put around the £50 million bid in. This is Jadon Sancho's 4th season at Dortmund. Analysing the vast majority of his career, he's been very, very consistent as Jadon Sancho. You know, Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2023. And don't forget, we was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. Now, we've been looking at some strikers, haven't we? Obviously, we've been looking at Harry Kane. You know, there's a possible chance that we'll sign him, because Harry Kane actually wants to leave Tottenham because he is unhappy. You know, David Ornstein was recently talking about it, and he says that he spoke to a lot of people, and he says Harry Kane wants to leave. He said he is committed to Tottenham while he's with them, but obviously he wants to win trophies, and he's not experiencing this at Tottenham. But we're probably going to have to pay at least 120 million, maybe even more, to convince Tottenham to offload him. And Erling Haaland, you know, is another striker on our agenda. So I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. I really, really am. But we are going to sell players in the summer transfer window. You know, I think there's a good chance we'll sell Juan Mata, because, you know, Juan Mata doesn't get in R11 now. And my element of concern about Juan Mata is lost that yard of pace. He's actually out with injury, I think, at the moment. Earlier on this season, Juan Mata rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. But I think he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. Juan Mata has made over 200 appearances in all competitions, and he's scored 50 goals. We got Juan Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. There's a good chance Edison Cavani will leave in the summer transfer window. Maybe there's a lot of Man United fans that would like to see him stay for next season. Ollie's hopeful that he'll stay, and Solskjaer has revealed that we are in contract negotiations with Edison Cavani. But Football Insider said not so long ago that Cavani had reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season, and Solskjaer said earlier on this season that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. Edison Cavani's current contract expires in June, so if we was to sell him in the summer transfer window, we won't receive a transfer fee for him. Edison Cavani's father come out a few weeks ago and, you know, said that Cavani's unhappy and he doesn't feel comfortable in England and he wants to leave. And reports from Argentina said earlier on this season that Cavani's decided to leave Man United after 1 season. But he's made an impact since he's come in, but obviously he's had a few injuries at Manchester United. A lot of Man United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer transfer window. And Man United are ready to sell Anthony Martial because he's no longer good enough to represent the club, in my opinion. He's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. We sell Martial in the summer transfer window, I reckon we'll get around £30 million. Martial's just come back from injury, hasn't he? Martial was good though last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club over 5 years. I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. Anthony Martial. Donnie Van Der Beek, you know, there's a good chance he's going to leave Manchester United in the summer transfer window. Mark Hughes has been talking about Van Der Beek recently, and he says Donnie Van Der Beek feels lost at the club and he's edging closer to a Man United exit. Like I updated you earlier on today, Donnie Van Der Beek has suffered another setback in his career because he was an unused substitute. In Netherlands 4-2 defeat to Turkey in Istanbul. Donnie Van Der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of his appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. But Donnie Van Der Beek feels loved at Man United, despite his lack of game time. He said prior to that he's threatened to quit the club after 1 season due to his lack of game time. And he said he wants showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. You know, we got Donnie Van Der Beek in a deal worth 40 million. Alright. Worth £40 million. And he's got a contract with the club until 2025. And Van Der Beek's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. You know, Paul Pogba, he could still leave Man United in the summer transfer window. Fabrizio Romano, who's a reliable journalist, he says Man United may have a threat from Juventus for Paul Pogba. So Juventus are refusing to give up on Paul Pogba. I said there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus because Pogba enjoyed 4 very good years with Juventus before he rejoined Man United. He's also been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid, and PSG have been in for him. So he's had a long-running transfer saga. Mino Raiola, he held talks with Juventus last week in Milan. So that might have stirred quite a few suggestions up. You know, Mino Raiola, he's desperate to get his client out of the football club. But he did say earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of disturbing. What?
I've got us a takeaway from Pizza Pie. Do you want it or not?
No.
Eh?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, I don't want it.
I've just got us pizza and fries.
Alright then, yeah. Alright then, I do.
Well, come and get it then, it's here.
I'll come down soon. Like I was saying, sorry about that. He's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season. But he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Because Mino Raiola doesn't have a good relationship with Man United and he has been criticised a lot. Made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement. But Ollie is hopeful that Pogba will stay and sign a new contract. Solskjaer's revealed we have been in talks over getting Pogba a new contract, but as far as I'm aware at the moment, we have not yet made a formal contract offer. You know, earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on Pogba's contract. So he's under contract with the club until June 2022. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. And not so long ago, he come back from a thigh injury. But he's an imperative player. We need to keep him potentially past the summer because he brings creativity to the team. And we lack creativity without Paul Pogba. We are far too defensive. We need to keep Paul Pogba on that left wing because that's where we get the best out of him, you know, in more of an advanced role. A good chance we'll sell Matic in the summer transfer window because he isn't one of our first choice midfielders. He's had some good games at Man United, but analysing the vast majority of his games, he's been very, very inconsistent, and I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a slow player, and you can say the club made a mistake by giving him the new 3-year deal. He's been at the club almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. You know, Fred, do you think we'll sell him in the summer transfer window? Jones, I want him to go. Romero, he should go. Will Man United sell Eric Bailly? As you all know, Eric Bailly has apologised to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his Man United teammates for his disrespectful behaviour, because it's been coming out saying that Bailly was furious with Solskjaer because he felt disrespected and not wanted by him. And Bay believes we're only offering him a new contract to simply increase his asking price. Bay has just 15 months left on his current contract. And De Gea, I think there's a good chance we'll sell him in the summer transfer window. Lingard and Delors, I think we need to get rid of them permanently. So if we sold all them, we generate a substantial amount, and that'd help us with our rebuilding process. So there you go. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I've said in regards to him, I think he's the best manager since Ferguson, because we have enjoyed good periods under Ole, where we have seen consistency and where he has got the best out of the team in some of them good periods, and he's improved certain players. But we've also enjoyed very, very bad periods under him. A lot of Ole outs were trending on social media not so long ago. That was after the 3-1 defeat to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. But he's been Man United manager now over 2 years. Reflecting how long he's been at the club, he has gained some managerial experience. But I just think Ole's in a position he shouldn't be in. I think we give him the job too soon, but the main explanation we're giving the job permanently was reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, because he won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. So that's why the club decided to give him the job permanently 2 years ago. And Solskjaer doesn't have a proven pedigree as a manager. So I've said, we need a bigger name in, we need someone to come in who would suit the trappings of the club, and someone to come in with a proven pedigree. But we've got to credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in quite a few aspects, because, we're second in the Premier League. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League for the first time in like 8 years. We haven't lost away from home in the league for over a year. I think we're unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. We was unbeaten in 28 in all competitions until Leicester City had beaten us in the FA Cup quarter-final. He got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. He's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Brought some good players in. Got rid of a lot of players since he's come in. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. And went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions last season. Was 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. So you've got to credit him in them aspects. I don't see Man United winning the Premier League for a while. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So we haven't won it now for like 8 years. But if we finish second this season and we win the Europa League, I'll turn around and say, yeah, that represents a good season for Man United, and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. Next season will be Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager and his 4th season. Mistakes have been made by Man United in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. In the last 8 years, it's just been an ongoing cycle, of inconsistency, because nothing has changed. Even though we sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. We've overpaid for players in recent years. The recruitment has been poor for a long time. And the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. So in that aspect, the blame stems from the board. But I've said it in regards to the board, it's been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. No Manchester United fan, including me, is expecting us to be the team we was under Ferguson, because we'll never ever be the team we was under Ferguson. Ferguson brought success to the club. He had that winning mentality. He knew how to win games. Ferguson enjoyed a 27-year tenure at Man United. Really long-serving manager. I think, yeah, won 30 odd trophies, what it, you know, including 13 Premier League titles, but he didn't settle in straight away, Ferguson, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the club. But yeah, that's really everything to update you with. And our two best players by far this season have been Luke Shaw and Bruno Fernandez. There is players that have improved this season, but there's good players in general at Man United. But analysing the squad at the moment, it's not good enough to be winning the league, is it? But it is good enough to finish in the top 4. And I think it's probably good enough to win some silverware. It is. But anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.